Guys, it gives me an honor and privilege to invite one of my good friends. I was so impressed by this guy when I hosted him on the Millionaire Student Show. And I just said, I've got to bring him as a special guest at this event. Why? Because there's so much of value he can help you and I in constructing an algorithm in perfecting your life through acting. He's a world-renowned Hollywood acting coach, business trainer, and life coach. He has been a transformational leader in the field of artistic performance, dynamic public speaking, and success strategies for the past 3 decades. He trained some of the top artists in Hollywood and has started the careers of many well-known television and film actors around the world, including Cameron Diaz and many others. He has coached Jeff Goldblum, Lionel Richie, LL Cool J, Lindsay Lohan, Vanessa Hudgens, so many people, A.R. Rahman, Emma Roberts, Billy Crystal, and the list can go on for days. He is honored to have the support of his work from Samuel L. Jackson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Deepak Chopra, and many others. His name is, well, hold on. Before I welcome you on, I want you to put your hands together virtually and put a round of applause to the man, the myth, the legend, the very first time speaking at Success Algorithm Summit 2021, Bernard Hiller.
Thank you, Sashin, for your very kind introduction. Again, my name is Bernard Hiller. I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California, and I'm an acting teacher. I teach here and in 24 other countries, but I'm also a life coach and a business trainer. And I can tell you that right now, there's a lot of business people who are taking acting lessons because you see, what they've discovered is that what Shakespeare knew all the time is that all the world is a stage and all the men and women are merely players. And what that means is that we're all acting different roles all the time. All the time. You couldn't actually live without acting. You go from playing a father to a businessman, to a driver, to a son, to a daughter, to a mother. Those are all different roles. And what I do is I specialize in understanding the psychological makeup of each character, because how well you play this part, how well you play an entrepreneur, how well you play a CEO, how well you play that role is going to determine your success. In fact, what I specialize in people connecting with their emotions and the ability to communicate, because how you communicate will determine everything. We are in a world where we have to have great expertise in the art of communication. And that's what I do. I teach people how to become what they need to become, or what I like to say, if you want to achieve what you've never achieved, you have to become the person you have never been. And that is the opposite of you. It's kind of strange, but you have to realize that if you want more, you need to become more. If you would like to have a high quality life, I need a high quality you. That's what I specialize. I specialize in teaching people not so much about information, but more importantly about transformation. Because what I already feel is that, first of all, we have some very intelligent people. I mean, if you're here, congratulations. But I also know something. I know you know a lot. You're really smart, but you're not doing all the things you need to do. So I think that you're not really in the need of more information, but you need transformation. And why is it that people don't transform? Why is it that people are afraid to change? There's so much knowledge. In fact, if you know something and you don't do it, well, that's like not knowing it at all. So I'm here to teach you how to become a star in your life. I work with a lot of movie stars, business stars, and I can tell you they're different in the way they act and the way they react. So do me a favor right now. I'd like you to sit up and think that you are the star business person. I want you to think you're Steve Jobs. I want you to think that you're Bill Gates. I want you to think them, because what makes them different than you? What makes them different is they acted differently. They listened differently because they were playing a part. Now, playing a part, not in a fake way, but actually playing a part, because let me give you a real quick lesson about acting. Acting is not playing someone you're not. Acting is being the person. It's called being, becoming, because each and every one of you, you and me, could become anything in this world. We could be good. We could be good. We could be bad. We could do good things. We could do no things. We could be homeless. We could decide to be here. You also have decisions, but everything is in us, is in everyone else. You're Mozart, you're Steven Spielberg. They just react differently. And I have had the pleasure for the last, I guess, 40 years to work with some of the best right up front, to work with them or to know them. And I wanted to know, how is it that they react to difficulties, failures? In fact, one of the things that I can tell you about a lot of the stars is that when things were going against them, that's when they really went for it. So let's start with the beginning, that being aware that we are all, well, let me just put it this way. You don't live in the world. No one lives in the world. You live in the world that you create. So think of yourself, your life, like a movie. So if your life is like a movie, what kind of a movie are you in? Because we all have to create. You are creating your own movie. Is it a fantasy? Is it a drama? Is it a comedy? What kind of movie are you creating? You understand, you are the director, the producer, the writer, because we live in the world, but we have to create our own world. And I am one of the guest stars in your movie. Absolutely. I have become a guest star, but you are the star of the movie. If you did some exciting things, you'd have an exciting movie. If you do nothing, you have a boring movie. Because everyone's life is a movie. And I'm here to say to you, let's make it different. And to be different, they are willing to do well, as they say, successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people are never willing to do. Because they are, as my friend Les Brown says, they're hungry. They are ready to do whatever it takes. Because the problem you have is not so much external. I believe 90% of everyone's problem, which is what acting is about, is finding out what's going on inside you, the thoughts, the ideas that create different. So just to give you a little bit of an acting exercise, I want you all to listen to me like you'd like to win an Academy Award. See, we like to give out Academy Awards. It's a little thing that we have here. We like to give it out as for best. And so I want you to listen to me like you'd like to win an Academy Award for listening. The best of the best. You see, what I've noticed when I've been working with Academy Award winners is they would like to win an Academy Award for listening. It's a lifestyle. It's not a performance. It's who they are. I've had the opportunity from Leonardo DiCaprio, Samuel Jackson, Al Pacino. Al Pacino's been going to an acting coach once a week, every week for 35 years. And when I asked him why, because he wanted to get better. You see, they wanted it to be great. Greatness was a choice they made. So if you would like to be great, if you're really interested in becoming great, I would be glad to help you. But it's something that you have to want to be inside. I actually wanted to be great. I mean, one of the things about being great is the first thing you can tell if you have a good dream or a good product or a good goal, it has to feel like someone has to think it's crazy. If people think, hey, this sounds crazy, then call me, because then it's going to happen. Because you have to become unrealistic, because people who are realistic achieve nothing. And the other thing you need to become is you need to become emotional. Now, I know there's a big problem with emotional, because you were very emotional as a kid. Oh, no, you were like up and you were screaming and you were going crazy. You had all the emotion. What happened to your emotions? Because the emotions is the electric force that makes you unstoppable. Emotional people succeed. And what I do with my exercises, I teach you how to connect to your emotions because you can have all the information. It's the fuel. I'm going to give you a Rolls Royce from me. Don't worry. It's from Sasha. Sasha's giving you a Rolls Royce, but it has no engine. Well, what do you have? You have nothing. I want you to understand that you are the most powerful electrical machine on the planet. But if it's not plugged in, well, then it's worthless. And that's what I want to tell you. Emotions is what plugs you in. Emotional people succeed. Logical people never do. It becomes interesting to me that we need to learn how to go from the outside information and change our upbringing. Really, the problem becomes what I call I have a book called Stop Acting, Start Living. And in this book, I talk about the fact that a lot of you had to become something other than your authentic self, because to become successful, you have to become authentic. And what is authentic? Authentic is making your soul visible to the world, who you truly are. That's really the core of suffering, is hiding your gifts and your talents. And how will you know when you're authentic? You feel powerful and you're happy. If you're not feeling powerful or happy, you're not authentic. But one thing about authentic people, love them or don't love them, they will make a mark. But all stars, business are all authentic. It's like, anybody confuse Steve Jobs with Bill Gates or anyone else that you can think of? No. Listen, one of the things about being authentic is that we live in a world which doesn't teach you, and that's why I want to thank Sasha, it doesn't teach you how to really succeed. It doesn't really teach you how to be successful. They give you a lot of information, but they don't realize that as a child, some of you connected to the weakest part of you because people told you you're not good. And you have to ask yourself this question: what did you have to do to be loved? What did you have to do to be loved? And if you had to change who you were and you had to get good grades or do really well, then you realize that you were not good enough. But when you did this is how you got praise, how you got attention. But what happened is that in my book, I talk about the fact that until you're authentic, until you are willing to be who you really, truly are, nothing happens. Nothing happens. So there's a story of Jim Carrey, which I'm sure you know. Jim Carrey, a great actor. And he, as you know, he's big. And so sometimes they said to him, listen, can you calm it down a little bit when you go to your auditions, where you try out for these movies? He says, well, if I don't give them who I am, then who am I? And why did he succeed? Because he's big, because he's real, because he's authentic, because he's willing to be different. I've had a little tiny time where I spent with Lady Gaga. And Lady Gaga was criticized every day in school because we live in a world where people just want to blend in. They actually don't want to stand out. And I congratulate you, because if you're here, you want more. And I want to give you more. But you need to become more. Now, sometimes when you're not the star business person yet, I always ask myself, why not? It's not just knowledge. It's because if you were the star business person, you're going to get more attention. You're going to become one thing that people don't like, vulnerable. And you have a chance, well, the possibility of failure. See, successful people are always ready to lose. But ordinary people, they don't want to lose, so they always lose. Successful people are always ready to lose. They're always willing to take a chance, because can you play a game without losing? So you have to be ready to lose. You have to be ready to risk. You have to be willing. Remember, actors are putting themselves in front of everyone, taking all the chances. And I'm saying to you that you're an actor as well. And I want you to act in a different way, because I can tell you that the actors I know had difficulties, had no money, had no connection, but wanted to learn, because the greatest thing about acting is the person you become. It's who I am. It's who I am. I started off in New York City as a singer, dancer, being in musicals. But all the training changed me, taught me that I needed to use my emotions and my voice. And I want to tell you that I want you to realize that until you have a power with your voice and can articulate what you want, there's nothing going to happen. So I want to give you some hints and some things that I want you to work on. One of the things that I want you to do is I want you to do something revolutionary, which is I want you to fall in love with yourself. That's right. Because some people think that if you fall in love with yourself, that's going to be like selfish or something. No, because people who love themselves are willing to do more for themselves. But here's the key: if you love yourself, you care about other people. Because if there's a saying called love your neighbor like yourself. So, can you love your neighbor if you don't love yourself? No, of course not. So I would like you to realize that I want you to be kind and loving to yourself because you're only great at things you love. If you love to be a successful businessman, if you love it, the difficulty, the heartaches, the fun, if it's fun for you, because it has to be fun, you'll be great. I love this business and I love the opportunity that I get to talk to you. This is the most exciting thing for me. And I always wanted to get better because you're only going to be great at things you love. You cannot be great at things you don't love. It's not possible. I want you to realize that right now, as you all know, there's a pandemic going on. Things have changed. Change is always happening, but sometimes there's tremendous change. And there's only one way to get out of change, only one way that the people will succeed. The people who are going to succeed through the pandemic are the people who are going to use the one thing that we've been given, a God's gift, called creativity. There are people right now in the pandemic making a lot of money. There are people doing really well. And there are ways that we will do. That's probably the greatest gift that we have as humans is creativity from the great creator. Creativity. Creativity is everything. How do you creatively figure out how to make it work? And that's what we've always done. We've done as a people, we always figure out, we're going to figure out how making it work. And that's what I'm here to tell you. You can make it work. So sit up, but I want you to start living what I call an Oscar-winning life. An Oscar-winning life is that at the end of your life, you would give yourself an Oscar for how you've dealt with your problems, with how kind you've been, how loving you've been, what kind of a performance that you put on. We're all putting on a performance. And I'd like you to perform stronger as a father. Remember, we're expecting other people to act a certain way. I know that if you call the manager and you have a problem with something in the restaurant, you want, you want some service. You want the manager to be the manager. That's a part. When a policeman comes over, is he a policeman all the time? Well, no, he's a policeman with you. Then he's a husband, then he's a wife, then he's this, then he's that. We're all playing different parts. And the idea how well you play that part. And by the way, there are children, as we know about, because I have them, who will complain about their parents. What are they complaining about? They're complaining that the father or mother did not play the part according to what they think they should do. Your mother should have done this. Your father should have done this. My best friend should have done that. And then the parents are complaining about the children. As a child, I wouldn't expect you to do this. We're all playing parts. Let's learn how to play powerful parts. You have a spotlight on you. Life is a spotlight. I believe that everyone's life is a work of art. And that you actually leave what I call a legacy. You're going to leave an artistic legacy. What you're going to do, because what you say, how you live, how you act, is going to be the legacy you leave behind. That's right. We're all a work of art. And I want you to think of yourself as an artist, as a business artist, because you have to use your creativity. I want you to realize that the two most important days of your life is the day you're born. And the second day that is super important is the day you know why you were born. Now, one of the things about successful people is they always think that what I'm saying applies exactly to them. Now, the great business people I've worked with listen to what I'm saying. They understand it and they capture it and they put it inside their soul. But the fabulous, incredible business people are always listening to everything I'm not saying. They're not just listening to what I'm saying. They're also saying, hey, wait a minute. How does this reflect on me? How do I understand this? So I want you to understand that one of the things that we need to become is we have to realize that every moment is a miracle. Because some people ask me, well, how do you succeed? I said, well, you need to have something that people have very little of: faith. Faith. Faith is finding answers in the heart. If you want to be successful, you have to first disconnect from your mind and connect with your heart and connect with your instincts. And when you do, something happens that has helped my life, because I've come here to the United States of America when I was 11. I didn't speak English. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a producer. I wanted to be a teacher. And I just had this faith that somehow it's going to happen. And the only way things happen is you got to be ready for miracles. Did you look for a miracle today? A lot of people aren't looking for miracles. And guess what? If you're not looking for it, you're not finding it. I want you to think of the greatest supermarket in the world. You walk into a supermarket and you're just going to get milk. You know what? You don't notice anything else because you're just looking for the milk. But if you're not looking for something, you can't find it. So I want you to find the miracle of this moment. A miracle is something that helps you and go like, wait a minute. Because the first miracle is that you're here. And with all the difficulties in the world, it's pretty exciting that you're actually here. That's a miracle. Your life is a miracle. That you're here is a miracle. But I have always felt that whenever I heard something, I always thought it was for me. So one of the things that I want you to do is learn how to be open for your miracles. And think, how is this moment a miracle? Now, I will give you, in fact, I think that lots of miracles will be coming. In fact, you usually get 10 a day. Now, if you haven't got your 10 a days because you have not accepted the first miracle, but you don't get the first miracle until you accept three things. You have to accept three things in your life. You have to accept that you must totally believe in yourself. You must totally believe in your product, in your whatever you're doing, and you have to believe in your future. Once you believe in yourself, in your talent, in your goal, in your skills, and in your future, get ready, miracles are coming. Because as I said, the way I got here is I must have had 100,000 miracles, but I'm looking for them. Because how would I get to where I'm going to go? I don't know. But you have to have faith. Faith is believing in something you cannot see. I have faith in you. I know that if you're here, you need a transformation. By the way, I have goals, I have dreams. I need to change if I want to reach them. So let me say that again. If you want to achieve what you've never achieved, you have to become the person you have never, ever been. And that's big. So one of the things that you have to do that is you have to get out of your comfort zones. Now, comfort zones, by the way, is where all your dreams and talents and ideas go to die. The comfort zone sounds kind of a good thing, the comfort zone. But if you're in the comfort zone, you're not where you're supposed to be. There's something that you need to be doing. And one of the greatest things you need to be doing is you need to be open for what I call your opportunities. There are opportunities every minute. And I wanted to tell you, why is it that people miss their opportunities? Why is it that people miss opportunities? Well, every time an opportunity comes your way, it's forcing you to learn, to grow, and to change. And guess what? People don't like change. They just don't like it. There's a saying in Germany, which is, I believe in change, you go first. But you know what? People don't like change. But guess what the world is all about? Change. But I want to tell you, what is an opportunity? An opportunity is when you know you're in this moment that you need to talk to somebody, do something, call somebody that's right in front of you, not later on. There are instincts because, as I said, you have to disconnect from your mind. Your mind is not your friend. Stop thinking and start feeling. Follow your instincts. I always think that the instincts come from maybe the people who are no longer alive telling you what to do, but you need a quiet mind. And you have to have faith that what you're hearing. And let me tell you something, your instincts are always right and your mind is always wrong. And as I go around the world, a lot of people live in their heads. But when you live in your head, you live in fear. Fear is, if there's nothing good's going to happen if you're guided by fear. That's when you're in your head. When you're in your heart, it's about love. It's trying to help you. So let me tell you 5 lessons that it's trying to teach you with every opportunity. So let me tell you opportunity number 1. There's an opportunity that comes to you, and what it's doing, it's forcing you at that very moment to become more courageous. That's right. It's forcing you to become more courageous because you're thinking, oh, I don't know. Because your mind is always telling you, by the way, let's do a little mind thing. Ask your mind, take a deep breath in. Ask your mind, am I special? Do I have some greatness in me? Just ask your mind. Mind, am I special? Do I have greatness in me? Do I have some is my product special? Okay. It said no. Let's take a deep breath in. Ask your heart. Heart, am I special? Do I have greatness in me? It said yes. Your mind will always give you negative answers. So here's the big question about your mind. Are you using your mind, or is your mind using you? And if it's using you, that's because you're living in fear. You're not living in love. You need to have love. I want to say that I'm sending you love, and I need you to start loving yourself, because what's interesting is if you love yourself, as I said before, you care about other people. You care about the environment. You can say, listen, I love myself. This is not going right. I want you to have the life you've always dreamt of. Sometimes, if you ever feel that your dream is too big, it's because your mind is too small. I want you, basketball, there's a little hole, they put it in. Now, if you have a big basketball and the hole is really small, it's not going to go in. If your mind is if your dream is too big, if you feel it's too big, it's because your mind is too small. So you need to completely change that. There is no such thing. The world is not giving you a dream or an idea that's bad. You just have to realize that you need to figure out how to make it work. And now, one of the things that all successful people do is that they always ask for help. Every one of them. I would tell you about movie stars. Movie stars think, oh, I can do better. The average actors I work with think it's good. No, I don't think it's good. I feel like I'm trying to get better. I do not feel that I am where I want to be. And that keeps me growing. I think that's the most exciting part. Keep growing. So, as I said, an opportunity comes your way and it's forcing you to have more courage. And what is courage? Well, courage is realizing that you need to do something that you're afraid to do. Now, there's a famous saying which goes like this: 20 seconds of more courage changes your life. 20 seconds. My life changed when I said, excuse me, sir, Mr. Spielberg, I just admire your work. Or Mr. DiCaprio, you have to realize that somebody's right in front of you. In fact, there are people around you. Now it's hard getting them, but you also can find them online. You reach out to people. Have 20 more seconds of courage. Come on, I know you can generate 20 more seconds of courage. After you got 20, then you got another 20, it's 40 seconds. I'm probably at 20 minutes of extra courage I need, because it's something you build. One of the things that people don't know is they think blocks and fears are bad. No, blocks and fears is what you have to do, because once you overcome them, that's when you discover your powers. There's blocks and fears are great. That's how we all have. In fact, there's a rule. It goes like this. For you to achieve what you want to achieve, you have to face all your blocks and fears. And the reward for such a courageous act is realizing that all your blocks and fears were all illusions, which means they're not really true. You're just afraid, because we live in a world of fears and doubts. That's true. That's all we do. We live in constant fears and doubts and don't do this and don't go there. And so wanted to do something to change that right now. I want you to realize something that people should have told you. Don't grow up. That's right. Don't grow up, because the future doesn't belong to the old. The future belongs to the unrealistic. The future belongs to the young, not the people that are young in age, people who are young. Because what grandparents say, don't go there and be careful of this and do that. And some of people are doing that who I met who are like in their 20s. They're afraid to do this. Get young. Don't grow up. It's a trap. I always think that I'm definitely the youngest person in every room because that gives you ideas. Young is what you want to be. You want to be young and you want to be positive. And why do you want to be positive? Because when you're positive, that brings light and you could see something. Negativity doesn't bring anything. Positivity brings light. And you know what? It's hard to be positive. Yeah, it's easy to be negative. It's hard to have a dream. It's not hard not to have a dream. It's easy not to believe in yourself. It's hard to believe in yourself. It's hard to work. You know what? Things are hard. But that's what makes you a great person. Right now, during this pandemic, there's a crisis. And crises bring out leaders. What are you doing under crisis? That's who you really are. Because we are who we are under pressure. Pressure. So let me get back to the second reason why people miss opportunities, is because it's forcing you to live in uncertainty. That's right, uncertainty. Now, I want to tell you that the best sort of acting school in the United States of America, probably in the world, is called Juilliard. And I had an actress who auditioned, tried out for Juilliard from Poland, went to New York City, tried out, cost, I don't know, $60,000 a year or something like this, 4 years, a lot of money. Because she was so good, they said, we're going to give you a scholarship. It's going to be free. So what do you think? Did you take it? No, she didn't take it. I said, why? I'd never been to New York before. Now, a lot of you may go like, oh my God, isn't that terrible? Yeah, what about the opportunities you missed? Yeah, it's always good to look at someone else and say, hey, that seems to be silly. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. To be successful, one of the things that all successful people is find a mentor. Because a mentor can take you to a place in yourself that you could never go by yourself. A mentor can help you discover. That's what an acting coach is. I'm a coach, teaching people how to be great in a performance or anything else. And by the way, have you seen the football teams or the soccer teams? Why do they have coaches? Don't the people know which way to run? Because every sport has a coach. What? The greatest players have coaches. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to tell you that you can never see what's wrong because the person that Einstein said the person that creates the problem can never solve the problem because they are the problem. So I cannot see my own performance, and I'm always going to mentors. Of course, that's how I'm going to get better. But I cannot see your own problem. You cannot see how great you are. You cannot see your own greatness. So let's go back to my opportunities that you missed. The opportunity, number 3, opportunity is asking you, begging you, please disconnect from your mind and connect directly to your heart. Every opportunity is in front of you, your mind's going, I don't want to, who do they want? And I listen to it all day long. I ask people, what are 5 missed opportunities you've had in your life? And they all missed because, well, you weren't ready to change and to grow. And I also have a sad part is that there actually is no missed opportunities because since you didn't take it, someone else did. That's right, someone else did. Right now, someone's having the life you want. Someone else took it. Someone took a chance because you have to take a risk. What you don't understand is that for you to become something more, which I want you to, it takes you to the edge of a cliff. And when you're at the edge of a cliff, you have to jump. And you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die. But what you don't know is that we all have an invisible parachute. That's right. We all have an invisible parachute that will open up. Doesn't open right away, but you have to have the courage to jump. I'm asking you, I'm begging you, jump. Take a leap into the unknown because you have to take a risk. These people, you are an explorer. And I also believe that in many ways, you're teaching people what's possible. If you're here, you have to jump. You got to jump and realize there's going to be a parachute. Don't worry, you're not going to die. But most people just stand by the edge of the cliff thinking of everything could go wrong. Well, and everything is going to go wrong. I always think that it's going to work out. I always believe that I can help you and use these techniques myself, which is what I did, by the way. I wanted to become even more successful, so I'm reading everything I can. You are what you study. So what are you studying? What are you doing? What are you focusing on? I want you to think that your eyes are like a camera. If you're focusing on what's like, if you come to LA, which is a beautiful city, but if you look for what's wrong with LA, oh, you'll find it. In fact, in life, you find whatever you're looking for. So it's important. What are you looking for right now? Now, sometimes people look at me and they get a certain feeling, but in life, in actuality, you don't really know who I am. You only know who you are. In other words, who you are is how you decide who I am. If you're kind of a cynical person, you will think I'm cynical. If you're a loving person, you will think I'm loving. In fact, you don't see me for who I am. You see me for who you are. So open yourself up through love and realize that I'm loving you, saying, come on, it's time to wake up. Because what I've discovered is this epidemic going through the world, which is people who are dead with their eyes open. That's right. Because the only time you feel fully alive is that when you're emotional. Listen, emotions are the most important thing. And that's why we have a business called Emotion Pictures. Why do you go see movies? To see people who are emotional. You're not going to see people who are not emotional. And you also love to watch people because great artists can teach you how to live. I'm sure the people that have impacted you, actors, singers, dancers, paintings, they teach you about humanity. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to be the most incredible human being because of something that a lot of people don't tell you. Success is attracted by the person you are. It comes to you. You really can't go after it. It's like we're a magnet. If you have a sort of a low frequency magnet, not much is happening. The most important thing is you have to create a community, a business community. You have to create partners. But you have to be the person you're looking for. You can't go like, I want this person. Hey, you want a powerful person, you have to be powerful because we always meet our tribe. You know, in the old days, outside of restaurants, I noticed that the people were smoking. And the other people in the circle, they were all smoking. They weren't like something, there wasn't people who were not smoking. I also noticed that when I go to the gym, there was these guys who were like muscles upon muscles, and they knew the other guys were the muscles. Everybody knew themselves. Because you always meet the type of person that you are. So if you want more, you need to become more so that you can attract the people into your life to help you. There's no question about that. Let me give you the next thing. Reason number 4. Reason number 4, it's forcing you to believe more in yourself. It's forcing you to believe more in yourself. When you believe in yourself, you believe in the power that created you. I mean, you don't have silly ideas. What I usually have to teach people is you need to go and connect to who you used to be. We're not talking about becoming something this way. I usually have to work backwards and say, hey, come back to what you used to be, who you were. I want you. A job is what you're paid for. A life is what you're made for. What are you going to be doing that you love? What job do you love? Have the courage, because we live in a world that doesn't believe in dreams and goals. They just don't believe in it. And you have to become an individual. You have to become authentic. But one of the problems of being authentic is that you will have a lot of people who will think that you're crazy. And you have to be willing to accept that. Because everyone who's become great now were always thought as crazy. Let me tell you somebody who I never met, but I know a lot about, Walt Disney. Walt Disney, I hope you've ever been to Disneyland, it's incredible. But if you come to Los Angeles and go to Disneyland, it's like the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's far from LA. And in 1955, Walt Disney wants to build Disneyland. And guess what? People go like, it's in Anaheim, middle of nowhere. No one's going over there. You want to build here? No. I got to build there. It's got land. No one wanted to give him money. Nobody wanted to give Walt Disney money. 200 banks said, you must be insane. Who's going to go out the middle of nowhere? Disneyland? How's that going to work? So there are 40 companies that gave him money. And when you leave the ride, the Pirates of the Caribbean, when you go out in Los Angeles, out of that, if you look to the left, there's something called a Club 40. Only the 40 companies that believed in him can go to that club. Club 40. So I want you to understand that everybody always thinks it's crazy. I mean, that's a normal thing. In fact, here's the thing. If you got a crazy idea, if people think what you're crazy, then call me. Not that you actually are crazy, but you have an idea that you think, wow, this is not going to work. But it starts with a feeling that this is what I want to do. If you want to do it, I know it's meant for the future, because I want to thank all the creative people who gave us this Zoom, iPhone, everybody. I mean, let's talk about Steve Jobs. He wanted to start computers, and what everybody's saying, computers, who's going to want that? And I understand their point of view, because computers are actually difficult. You have to connect to the internet, and then everybody has to connect with it. It's like, what is that? They said no. So what did he do? He went to his garage and started building it on his own. That's what you need to be. You need to become the hero of your own life. You need to realize that you need to pick up the sword and you need to face the dragon. The dragons are all your doubts and all your fears. So let me just go quick, because I have quick time. The fifth and most important rule is that you have to realize that it's not time not to blame anyone. It's time to take action. It's time to take action, not thinking, oh, it's this one's fault, that one's fault. Come on, it's you. And I believe the world is actually trying to help you. I believe that this seminar was designed for you, that would help you, but only if you understood that you needed to change and that you listened to me like your life depended on it. You know, I always say, don't write anything down. I always tell everyone in my seminars, don't write anything down unless you're going to do it. Because the problem is not writing it down. It's doing, it's action. In fact, in movies, we yell, and action. We don't yell and talk and think. It's action we want. What I want from you is action. I want to teach you about the fact of what do you need to do? What do you need to change about yourself to be willing to become the person that you need to be to succeed? There is so much that I'd like to talk about. And one of them is that you need to have uplifting colleagues. You need people that totally understand you. You need people that really get you and feel what's going on. It's super important. I also think it's super important that you understand that every day you need to charge your happiness battery. That's right. Every day, charge your happiness battery. Do something that brings you joy, because the problem is that we're too serious. You need to find the fun. You need to put fun and humor inside you, because that's the energy you will need. You have to understand that there is a story that I always think about. It's from Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi it's a true story of something that happened to him. He was the one that wanted to free his people from India from British rule. And what he did is he went to little villages and talked about the benefits of nonviolent protest to get freedom. And they were like thinking, well, how's that going to work? But he said, no, it actually worked. But one story that is very powerful and always touches me is he was talking to a small little village, and then he was going back to the train, and he got on the train. He was on the caboose of the train, and a reporter from that little village runs up to him and says, "Hey, Mr. Gandhi, I wasn't at your, speech. I didn't hear what you said. Can you please just tell me, do you have a message for me? What message would you like everyone to know? And I will put in my newspaper. What message do you have for my people? And I will let everyone in my town know." And Gandhi thinks, he said, "My life is my message." So if your life is the message, what's the message? Your whole life, not today, every day. Every day. I know that you can make it even stronger. I know that each and every one of you, and I'm speaking for myself, can make it more powerful, more impactful, more moral, more full of value, and realize that we are all in it together. And we have to think of what's the message? Our life is our message. My teacher taught me something that's very important. He said, in life, you should write a book. He told me I should write a book that everyone wants to read, or have a life that someone wants to write a book about you. And that's what I want to tell you. It's time for you to develop a life that we're going to make a movie about your life. That's right. But to do that, I want to tell you need some exciting things. There's got to be something exciting, something where you took risks, where you took danger. I want you to realize that there's no question in my life, no question in my mind that you have been born to do something great. There's no question. But it's time to change. It's time to realize, and that's what I do as a coach, is I teach people how to overcome their doubts, their fears, how to realize that their negativity, how to harness that, how to harness all the different things that are inside you, how to become we're sort of like an orchestra. We are an orchestra. And until we find all the different parts of ourselves, we'll never be able to play in harmony. That's right. To play in harmony, we all have to be playing the same tune. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. I look forward to talking to you. If you want to write me, my website. I want you to realize that greatness is your destiny. And as my friend Les Brown says, he says that if you make hard choices in life, you have an easy life. But if you make easy choices, you'll have a hard life. So what kind of life are you living? Hard choices, like leaving a situation, a relationship, a job, something. Hard choices makes an easy life, but easy choices makes hard life. It is my pleasure to help you. Thank you, Sashin, for giving me the opportunity. I look forward to talking to each and every one of you. Please, until then, we meet. And remember, the bigger the dream, the better the life.
I told you Bernard Hiller is a powerhouse, and he did a 1-hour podcast on the Millionaire Student Show on YouTube, so definitely check it out. But his techniques on acting is so relatable to life.